I'm at the shop getting ready to work on a 1998 Chevrolet S10. It's got the 4-banger on it in it, the 2.2 liter. Again, I wasn't planning on doing no filming on compressor swap out, but seeing that I was here and I had my little camera with me, I said, why not? Maybe it'll help somebody out. So let me go ahead and leave this one and go from there. One of the first things you need to do is to remove the serpentine belt. And removing the serpentine belt is very simple. Just take your 3/8 drive ratchet, stick it on the idler tensioner, pull it back off the spring, and drop the belt. Went ahead and took the back hoses off the compressor. Down here we're going to have a bolt on the left side on the front. We're going to have a bolt on the right side on the front. And we also have 2 bolts on the rear on a mounting bracket. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the compressor, and then we'll go from there, and I'll just show you how I do it. I guess it would help if I let you know what size wrenches and bolts that I'm using. So far I'm using a 15 millimeter on the bolts in the front of the compressor. The front 2 bolts is a 15 millimeter. Bolt size on the rear is a 13 millimeter. One thing you need to be aware about is when you're putting these new compressors on is to make sure that you put new gaskets, O-ring gaskets on here. So we've got the new compressor bolted and mounted. Now we need to take these old rings off and install the new ones, and make sure you have clean hands when you do this and everything's nice and dry. I do have a concern here where I was talking about changing the O-ring gasket. The gaskets here that we have are the ones that came with the compressor, and here are the factory gaskets, and there is definitely a major difference in the thickness. And we'll just go ahead and install them and see how that goes. All right, we are going to have to install a new dryer. This is an essential on changing the compressor. You don't change the dryer, you're looking at having nothing but problems. And rig size used so far is an inch and 1/16 on the back, inch and 1/4 on the front. And I can't emphasize the importance of changing the orifice tube. Give you a little bit better shot of the tube itself. And the location, it's this black crusty looking thing right here. Now I didn't have an orifice tube remover, but I was fortunate enough to use a brand new pair of Milwaukee needle nose pliers with some really good grips on the end of them, and was able to grab it and go ahead and pull it out and extract it or remove it, and it is absolutely crud. This is the orifice tube right here, and you can definitely see the problem. Here we've got the new one, and we'll be changing that. Seeing that that system has so much junk in it, I am going to take a air hose and blow some of this junk out just to see, and I've already done that. Old dye, some of the old compressor oil. So I'm going to flush the lines with some air, just to try to get some of that garbage out of there. This is where we're at now. Got the new compressor on, got the belt on, got the hoses hooked on the back, got the orifice tube changed, got the new accumulator on. Did not note that you do have to put new O-rings on here. Blew everything out. Now we've got to pull a vacuum on the system. Take your manifold gauges. Mine are kind of wore out. Go ahead and hook up your low side. Hook up your high side. Open up your valves. Hook the manifold to the compressor and turn the compressor on. And we are now definitely pulling a vacuum. You can see it going below zero. And we're below zero on the high side too. So we'll let that run for a while, pull all the moisture out the system. For years I'd never pulled vacuums on changing out air conditions. They work fine without doing it. Last couple of years I learned the reason why you do that is to take the moisture out the system. And I'm not sure if this is true or whatnot, but several mechanics told me that moisture and Freon can actually make some kind of an acid that will start eating holes throughout the system from the inside out. That's why you don't want to have moisture in the system, and also moisture in the system can freeze up the lines. So I always pull a vacuum on everything now once I do it. So we'll let that run for a while. You can hear at the gauges, everything's holding steady. You see we're under zero. We're under zero. Pin is pegged out. This one never went below that negative bar right there. So we shouldn't have any leaks. We pulled the vacuum down as far as the pump will allow it to go. Now we're going to crank it up and start adding our refrigerant and our oil.